Hi, good afternoon, guys. John here, Mr. Forex Fire. So we're coming up to pre-New York AM. So it's 1:30 in the UK. So it'll be around about 8:30 in the US in New York. So what we're going to do, just going to share the screen, and we can see, okay, from what I mentioned yesterday, it looks like we've came up to touch up into this area that I marked out yesterday, and we're starting to get a reaction, okay? So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to draw a fib from this to this, and we've pushed out of the lower part of this candle. I'm going to take the 5 minutes, okay, and we're going to check the strength of the CAD. The CAD is really strong. The JPY is just starting to come back into strength at the moment. So we're going to set an alarm on here, and that'll just be for the 50%. We're going to go back up to 15 minutes. We're going to take a look at the GU. So the GU, we've been stuck within the range. We've come back up and sort of mitigating up into the higher end of the London high. Excuse me. The euro, there was a 2% move today on this. Again, we're just sweeping the low of the Asian and the London low. So I'm just going to let this play out a little bit. We're going to have a little look at the SP. So we're coming up into the New York PM session. We're going to do the New York PM session high to the low. We've tapped into 50%, okay? So I'm going to do this. And I'm not going to enter a trade on the SPX. I'm just going to sort of set an alarm. Okay, I'm just going to do that. Set an alarm there as well. We might monitor this one. And the reason why I've got this fib from the high to the low is just because it's a session range. The session range has come in to be met, okay, within the 50% of this range here, okay. That's the only reason why I put that fib there as a key level. So I'm just going to draw this into here. And I'm going to also look at the NAS. We'll have a look at the NAS. So the NAS as well, we've been still caught within the range of the New York PM session from yesterday. So it was sort of like consolidated still. I've got no interest in the NAS today, to be fair. So if I bring down that SP and we'll look at that. So we've got the card. Okay, we've got the card. And we'll drill it down to a 5 minutes. We want to see this here, this candle here. Just going to get rid of that. And I want to see this candle, which is the momentum candle at the moment. I want it to stay within the liquidity of this low and the 50%, okay? When I get that, that confirms that this is a swing low. We then move on to the next candle after that, and then we want that to be within a separation candle, as we call it. We want that to be before a 50% touch, or we could do it within this one, to be fair, as long as we don't break below there. We just want to stay contained within this tank. So we've got our eyes on the CAD-JPY. We've got our eyes on the SPX. Okay, we're keeping an eye on that SPX level as well. And the GBP, I've got no interest in this as such at the moment, although we have swept the high on the London. We've come back down, excuse me, into around about 50%. You know, we've come back down into this again. We are taking the market structure from that. We also have the value gap here. So I'm looking at this possibly maybe because we came up, we've come up, we'll come up, do this. We might do that on this today. But this is just, that's a different method I'll be looking at, to be fair. and I don't want it to detract from what we're doing at the minute. Right, so we've got the SPX and it'll be the CAD. Okay, I've got my eyes on those two at the minute. I've got the alarm set. I will be back in around about 5-10 minutes of that, guys. All right, so the CAD JPY, you can see we do have a separation candle. It looks like we may get a touch in. Just looking at the pippage on this. It's a good 13 or 14 pips to be fair, but we do have the true day open down the bottom. We have the London low and the Asian low as well. Within the liquidity of this here, where we get the touch, we do have liquidity on the New York lunch from yesterday, and we also have all of this that I mentioned. But the bias overall from the other day, I did see we would probably come up and touch into this before we get a drop off. Okay, so where you see this here with this order block, okay, you can see here it's tapped into this. We're just waiting for price to mitigate and push that a little bit further up into it. We're about 3 or 4 pips off. Let's get rid of the noise on here. This is what we're watching for at the moment. I'm just going to keep it relevant to what we're saying. We don't need to say what's down on this bottom left. We want to keep the price action nice and big on what we're seeing at the minute. Again, we'll have a look at the SPX. Price is it's going down a bit further. It looks like it's going a double, treble bottom on here. But again, it's the CAD we're looking at the moment. It's pushing. We're about a pip or so away from the price. Again, what you'll be looking at if we go at this from a 1 minute aspect, okay? Bring this into the high to the low. Yeah, what you'd be looking from this aspect is once we get the touch, you need a buying candle. And then you need bearish engulfing. That's the 1 minute setup. But it looks like we've just about not reached into that, to be fair. That's damn annoying. Look at this. 0.3 of a pip. Again, we're not supposed to go down into the 1 minute until we do get the touch official. But that 5 minute candle, it has been around about. There we go. There's a touch now. Right, good. Right, so we can go into the 1 minute and we need to see a bearish engulfing. Okay, so again, we need to see this sort of format. On the 1 minute, we're starting to get a bearish engulfing now, and we're talking around about 15 pips. So if I do this and do this at 15, this at 30, it's not going to engulf it though. It's starting to push further up, which works better for us, to be fair, unless it's going to engulf it now. We'll just take a look. 6 seconds left. 3 seconds, 2 seconds, 1 second. Right, so we're not going to engulf that. We've got a candle down here, so from around about here up to here is around about 13 pips. So I'm just going to click on this. I'm just going to make this a little bit lower. So I'm just going to see a 13 pips for 26. And 0.25 risk. We'll go on that. Looks like we're gonna engulf this one. 20 odd seconds left. We're engulfing now. We're coming back into the field of range of that candle. Come on, push down, get into this. 8 seconds. The conditions all meet as well, so if it goes on, it goes on. It didn't engulf, guys. I very, very nearly clicked the button I very, very nearly clicked the button to sell it there because it was right on the last second. We need that buying candle again. This did not engulf. It didn't engulf. So again, we'll just wait. Bit of trickery going on with us there on that candle. We're starting to make the way back up. You see where the liquidity's residing here? Look how many times it's rejecting here. Wow. So we'll go back onto the 1 minute on the CAD-JPY. Again, we do want to see the bull candle. I'm just going to pause the video a second just so you're not going to get bored with having to wait for this on the 1 minute. We need this to be green on the candle, so just bear with me. Right, so we've had a candle, but it's a doji, and it's not a buying candle. So this one will be that. Looks to have been a little bit of slippage here as well within price because the close of the candle here, it opened up down here. So it looks like price might start moving away from us if that's to be said. So this next candle, we really want it to be green. We want a little bit of bulls, and I would prefer it to come up into the discounted area as well, to be fair. You just need to be a little bit of patience. 10 seconds. Come on. Come on, turn green. Turn into a green candle. Red candle again. Oh, this is where it tests you. It is testing. What we can see below here, anyway, look at some price action. We've got some fair value as well. We've got a little bit of fair value gap here as well, so I really don't want this to be tapped before we get in on a position because obviously the only other liquidity below this is the low here, the higher low, and then this higher low here, and then further down on our liquidity we've got along here, and then so there is plenty to go to the downside, but we really need to see that the bull candle to come and play first. So 10 seconds left. I just need to be mindful of where the opener of that is up to there. What about 15 pips? So this is certainly the buy-in candle. Will the next one be bearish? We'll soon see. And if this stays bullish on this candle, it's going to leave behind another little bit of fair value. So it's sort of building liquidity up within this high. Yeah, within that high to this low, it's starting to build liquidity on the sell side. So it could be gearing up for that discounted entry up here before we get the initial push. So it'll build that little bit of liquidity to fool and trick buyers to then hopefully do what we want it to do, which will be its sell-off. Okay, so again, we need that bearish engulfing to come into play. I don't think it's going to happen, to be fair. We're about 12 pips away. That's not going to engulf that. We do have another bullish candle here, so this might work in our favour. So that's green. There's not going to be much to get that into a bullish engulfing. We'll have a quick look at the news as well, just in case something's coming up. We do have USD news very, very soon, but again, it's only yellow folder. Even though we're on the cards, it could still affect what the other currencies decide what they're doing, Coming up into the discounted areas. In the discounted areas, we do have order block here. We do have fair value along here. We do have, like I say, the order block along this side here. which I'll turn into a pinkish color. So that's where the liquidity is inside of the swing range where we're at the moment. Again, let's measure where the close of that candle is, the open I should say. It's around about 12 pips. So if I come back into here and I'll see, all right, I want to go for 13 pips and we'll change this to 26 and we'll get this on to 2.5. So we're just lining up our ducks sort of thing, you know. So we're tapping into the order block at the moment. To the downside, we do have fair value here and we have fair value up on here. We've got 20 seconds left. We needed to close below this marker here. We nearly got caught out early on there. The price decided to jump on itself. So again, 10 seconds. And within that 10 seconds, we need this candle to move another 2 or 3 pips to engulf. And it's not going to do it. So again, we wait for the buying candle. We need another buying candle. This is what I like about this setup because it's very mechanical. It'll keep you out of bad trades, you know, as long as you follow the system. And while we're doing this, and we've got these swings to highs, higher lows, we are caught within the range right now of this high to this, you know, and it's just manipulating price at the minute with regards to creating liquidity pools inside of the high to this low. So again, we're coming into 20 odd seconds. We could be producing another bull candle. That's 10 pips. So I may be able to close some of this down, to be fair. We want this to stay, we want this to be a bull candle. It needs to be a bullish candle. It needs to be green. 2 seconds. Is it going to be a bullish? Right. So we may get an engulfing here. Very, very good chance we could be getting an engulfing. So if we do this up to here, 12 pips. I've got it set up as 13, I do believe. So we need this to engulf and engulfing straight. It's not going to take much to engulf our price, to be fair. So there's the engulfer move coming in. Massively coming in. 20 odd seconds left. Again, we've got the order block here, we've got the fair value and we've got fair value here. It looks like we could be getting in on a sell position at the moment. We need a close of this candle. Pushing into the dojis here of this order block as well. Push down, and then I'm going to get in on a sell there. I'm going to push this a little bit higher up. Okay, I'm going to bring price in. And I'm just going to mark out the short. That's where we got in. That's where the SL is. This is a pretty big trade, this, to be fair. Do this on here. I'll get rid of some of this noise. It is what it is. It's either going to stop us out or it's going to give us a trade. It's a bit of a wider SL, this one, to be fair, more than what I would like. We'll see what happens. Get marked up from here down to here. We'll do this in stages, I think. Okay, so we'll do that from there to there. I think I'll also do a take partial here to here. And I think I'll have a TP take partial here to here. So I'm sort of quadranting down the setup. Like I say, we'll see what happens with it. Have a bigger move, this one, to be fair. What we'll do is we'll pause the video. We'll be back in a short while. Right. And so the preference, what I'm trying to do here, I'm going to be looking to try and take some partials on the way down of this 1 to 2, and then if we do get the move to the downside, I mean, obviously there was an entry right there, but I also want to see if this could come down to the true day open, which is a 1 to 3.66 overall. Which, like I said, we've got so many TP levels here. And if I just do this from this down to this, I suppose I could introduce a level there. I could also introduce a level there, you know. So, like I say, guys, if I manage that one off, put this along to here, I want to modify that. I want to add an alert there. Maybe bring this down to here for now. Okay. And we could add an alert there as well. So we're taking price off each level down. Again, if I just do that and I move this to here, then I can get rid of some of the noise. So that's the setup I'm looking at this moment. Okay, I've got sections where I'm going to try get a little bit more than the 1 to 2 out of it by the time I sort of take the partials. I could be getting a good 1 or 2% back, but I don't want to half it down too much. I'll maybe take a little bit off. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Uh, get the calculator on. Where's my calculator? Get this over here. So 291, 200 divided by 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 divided by 6. Let's have a look. 291, 209 divided by 6 positions. So if I get to each level of that, I need to take out 48,500, I would say, of this here. That's only if I do hit these levels, or so that's the sort of intention that I'm looking at the moment. Like I say, we could be in for a slow one here, to be fair. Let's go back up to that 5 minute in the SPX. See what was happening with that. It looks like we're going to be getting a touch into this as well. Looks like there could be a touch coming on that. So that should be triggering off this alert. So it's triggered. So I don't have the sound on. There we are. So if I go into this, I'll take this down to the 1 minute. Okay, you know the crack, guys, because we're looking for a sell, we are looking for a buying candle, which is bullish, followed by a bearish engulfing. Okay, I don't think I'm going to enter this trade because I've got quite a bit invested on this at the moment. So I'm just persevering with this. I don't want to overload everything. So again, you're looking for the bearish. So there's no point in keep jumping on the card because it's set. You know, we've got it set with the alerts. So we can keep an eye on this SPX at the moment. Commodities, got to admit, there haven't been a strong point for me on this just yet. We do know that the ICT sort of thing, it does say SPX 500 and NAS. To be honest with you, I've never been successful trying any sort of concept on those with these sort of things. But again, this isn't an ICT method. It's related to the conditions of the kill zones and things like that. However, the entry model is my own that I came out with, you know. So again, I keep mentioning ICT, the concept, the model, and where I'm going down from anchor to condition to trigger 15, 5, and 1 is totally different to what he's doing. So at the minute, obviously on this, if you do come and break above that there, then it's certainly out of play, you know. And we're just watching this. And normally the SP normally sort of takes off at 2:30, I do believe, UK time at least. So we're just going to see if this is a bullish candle. So it's certainly a bullish candle. We'll start getting the bearish in. We'll bring this up. Bring me over to here. There's a 1 to 2. See, we're just waiting for the close of that candle. But it's got to be bearish. It's got to be a bearish engulfing. So it's got to be red, and it's got to be below the opening of that green candle previously to it. So we'll see how it goes. Burning the candles at both ends last night. Pardon the pun, candles. Let's just wait and see what's happening on this. We can see price is not going to push down. It's bullish still. Go into the card, see where we are. Again, we're in the drawdown, we're in the heat. It's the SP we're looking at. And it looks like a new candle's going to form. So we may get... why is that candle not pushing? Right, here we go. Bring this a bit further down. It's going to be bullish again, isn't it? We need it to be a bearish candle. Right. 7. We're going to get a bit more push down, or we're just going to stay exactly where it's at. Oh, staying exactly where it's at. It's going to be bearish engulfing because it just shows us that there's momentum. We can see on the MACD there is bullishness with these, what's happened here, but it's waning off, it's starting to dissipate. So again, it's wanting to go down, but we just need the volume in the markets to come lower. And at the moment, what we're seeing, fair value here. You've also got the tied in order block right there. You know, so we've got liquidity just that's waiting to be tapped into on that buy side. Let's go back into the CAD. We'll see what the CAD's doing. We're still not getting the drop at the minute. Go on the SP. Again, remember, we're not in a trade on this. I'm waiting to see this condition, the bullish followed by the bearish. We did get it here, but this was not a bearish candle. We're coming up to mitigate into the fair value gap here right now. And there's not much space left between here, where we're at the minute, and that swing high. There's very little. Right, so it looks like we may, come on, let's push down. Just push down and get that entry. Come on, a bit further down. Price is just so so slow because we're coming up to Chris. After this week, it's more or less Christmas, you know. And again, look at that. It's just residing right on one another. So again, we just sit and we wait. Let's go back to the card. Again, we do have on the card the order block here, and we do have the fair value gap here. We do have price liquidity on the trend here. We just needed to break down low to come below this, and then sort of break, retest, and push down. If we get that coming down on here, then it's going to be better in our favour. You know, we might start getting some take partial areas hit. Again, we're getting the close of this next candle that's coming up in about 7 seconds. But you can see these candles and now they're just consolidating, you know. You've had the highs up here. We've come down to make the low, and then we've had the momentum shift back up into the FVG or the imbalance, and then obviously contained inside of the order block as well. There's the next candle. It's bullish again. It's coming in, and it looks as if it's wanting to tap into the fair value gap. It's just hanging about, as we see it. I'm going to pause the video for a second, guys, and I'll be back in a second. Right, so we've got a bullish candle here. We're starting to get a bearish with 8 seconds left. We just want to see where if this price is going to come down on us. It's a very uniform structure, this at the minute. It's still just messing around, guys. We'll look back on the card. The card's starting to come into a little bit of profit now. So in all honesty, I'm not going to keep my eyes on the SP too much because I need to watch what's going on with that card for to take a partial if we come into the first trigger point. And again, look, we're now starting to push up again. 30 seconds left on that. We'll go back to that card JPY. For the partial, we're about 5 pips away from a partial area. So it'll be 48,500. I'd want to take off if we do hit into the partial area. I need to make a decision whether I would move the SL to break even, to be fair, which might be a good option to do, to be fair. But again, we still got to hit this first. We'll go back into the SP 500. We're showing just too much strength at the minute. We still need that the bullish candle followed by the bearish engulfing. It looks as if this is going to want to take out the top of that. We're going to look at the cards. Card's gone super strong at the minute. JPY. So again, it's not looking good for us, to be fair. Let's go back onto that card. ESP again. It's just not wanting to show any bearishness, is it? Not wanting to show any bearishness. Like I say, we've got everything lined up. We know where the liquidity is. We're coming up to mitigate into through that order block, and now we're attacking the liquidity on this slight trend here, you know. And again, we're near enough coming up to the top of here as well. Got about 7 seconds left of this candle. going to open up a new candle. We'll go into the cards. We'll check the card. The card's dropping a bit more for us, which is nice. Go back to the SP. So I do apologize. I'm watching two screens at the minute. So this looks as if it's going to. We haven't gotten in a trade, to be honest. Remember, so that will be there. This will be here. I think it's going to come and take the liquidity on the high side. So yeah, it came in and touched. Okay, so this is the good part of the mechanics. We came in and we touched into the 50%. Okay, but then we were waiting for the bullish candle followed by the bearish engulfing, and it hasn't done it. And because it hasn't done that, it's kept us out of getting into an entry which where there was too much momentum. So this even though it hasn't ended a trade and it hasn't given us the conditions, it's you got to see the positive side of the coin. It's kept you out of getting in on a trade, which eventually would have just came and stopped us out. For me, is that quite? Now this is interesting because that hasn't quite topped that, and yet it's going to engulf this by the look of it. This would be a risk. Is that taken that? I don't think it has it? Interesting. So we've got 13 seconds left. Engulfing now. It hasn't engulfed because it's still back up here. So it's the same level. Yeah, this trade. I think this trade's just about gone, to be fair. Let's go back to the card. This is starting to pull back up. When we look at this as well, where does the liquidity reside? Well, we've got fair value here as well. So like I say, I normally like to mark price as we go along to see where the inefficiency is on price, If we come and push through this, the only other inefficiency after this or where liquidity is, okay, it would be the start of this here, because these are the lower highs, like highs, lower lows, lower highs, caught within 50% and the imbalance of this. We come back up, lower high, we come back down, tap into the order block of the area of price below the fair value, fully mitigating through this. Now, because we've done that on this momentum down, we've left some fair value here. We've come up and tapped into that and mitigated into it. Okay, hopefully when we've tapped into this, it's going to start to want to push. Where is the liquidity after we've tapped into this? Well, on the sell side, it's on here. And it resides within these candle wicks here, and it most certainly resides on this part here, and obviously below, and then into our area here. The liquidity on the buy side, if it goes against us, resides on the lower high, into the order block red that we've got here, into the fair value on the higher side on the buy end, into the discounted area, and then also ultimately it would reside into this high swing, which is where we do not want it to go, because if it does, it stops us out. Let's go back to the SP. Again, this has just went and pushed up above here, so we're not interested in the SP now. We are just solely wanting to watch. We are just solely wanting to watch the setup for the CAD JPY. Okay, so like I said, guys, we've been on a while now. We've been following price. You can see here, this is like an order block area. We've tapped into it a couple of times. We've got a trend line, downtrend liquidity here. We've got fair value and imbalance up on the top here. As we push through into the imbalance here, we can get rid of that noise, because what's happened here now, we've swept and mitigated through this bit of imbalance, which was this here. Okay, we've come back up and mitigated through this imbalance, which was done from the lower high down to this lower low, so we can get rid of that. It's now wanting to search for the top end liquidity up here, which would consist of where the money is. There's liquidity all up on this side here. We wanted to tap into basically the last point of control, which is an order block, which is that order block there. We wanted to tap into this and then search for the liquidity on the sell side. That's what I ultimately wanted to do now, because like I said, as we've come down, done this, come up, done this, done this, done this, we're building liquidity on the sell side. Hopefully we're just trying to trick buyers, and then we might eventually come down and do this. That's what I'm hoping. That's what I'm hoping. If not, and if I do get stopped out, yes, we've lost again on a session like we did yesterday, but we are understanding what's happening with price action. And it's more important to sort of mark out these annotations as price is moving during your bias and in your bias, if that makes sense. So not only are we looking for a setup and testing the method, but also this is giving a good lesson on price watching, price fluid, the fluidity of price, what is happening with the momentum of price at the moment, and what do I expect based upon my overall bias, and what is happening if we tap into those areas of maybe price inefficiency or areas of importance, like your FVGs, like your last point of true mitigation, which is your LPOTM, last point of true mitigation, or order block, if you like to call it that. We can see, like I said, I'm expecting a push. If we tap into this, we ultimately want to see price to start to react from that. And then where we've got these liquidity points here, as we're trying to sort of trick more buyers in, because when you think about it, guys, look, we've got highs, higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows. We're building liquidity up inside of the high to the higher low, okay? We need to build liquidity up to maybe hopefully trick more people to think we're buying from the higher low to go up and take this out, where if the market makers are in this and they decide they want to go lower, they're building up enough liquidity on these higher lows to trick the buyers, and then all of a sudden when we go into one of these LPOTMs, the last point of true mitigation, or order blocks, or fair value gaps, we can then maybe get the reversal that I have on my bias and then go to attack these higher lows and take out a higher low here, take out a higher low here, take out a higher low here, and take out a higher low further down here, here, and here. Okay, that's what I'm ultimately looking at. That's what my bias is, but we'll see what happens. I'll pause the video and we'll be back in a short while. Right, so it looks like we are getting a push down in our favor. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll look at starting to take a partial in a moment if we can get that continuation down. Now, you notice how I said on my bias with liquidity, we're trapping buyers and sellers in their own sort of bubble. And then eventually what's going to happen, we're going to get the true move. It's like coiling up like a spring at the moment. I want to take a partial off it in a minute. Take a partial, so again, 48,500 is what I said per trade. I'm going to take that off there now. I might even start thinking about moving this to a break even. I'll make this risk free now, so then I know I'm in complete control, because I don't want to risk what we've got in here. Okay, so again, I'm going on the preference of what happened this morning. So the next level, we didn't quite trigger that, but I'm happy to take off what we had from there this morning. Okay, hopefully this will hold the entry. Hopefully that entry will hold, and we will push that a little bit further down. And we'll just take off 48,500 uh, on each position move. So again, that's just about hit the touch of that take partial now anyway. So yeah, I took it off a few seconds earlier. So there's the touch of that first part, most certainly. Hopefully we'll come down into the next bit as well, and we'll take a little bit off that as at the same time. We'll just let it continue. But there's nothing to stop this from just coming down to these levels and then going back up and taking us out, to be fair. Because ultimately, you've got a higher, low, higher, high. So what you're looking at and what I'm talking about is that there down to that there is a range, okay? This part here, we're stuck within this range at the moment, if that makes sense. And what's happening is we're just building up liquidity in the meantime between the higher low to the higher high, okay? But what I've been doing is I've been identifying structure within that range with these order blocks, these fair value gaps, this order block. And like I said, what I said just before, I was expecting the last point of true mitigation, which was this order block, to be tapped into. It did. And then I was expecting, hopefully, the liquidity that was built up on these sell sides to be mitigated. And then, obviously, where we're tricking the buyers on that side, we had the bias of we were going to start coming down on the sell side. And so I'm hoping that's still going to be the case. It is what it is. What I'm going to do, I'm going to pause the video again, guys. If the alarm goes off for the secondary position, what I'm going to do, I'm going to start getting ready for this now, at least. Okay, so I'll put another 48,500 at the ready. So if my alarm comes off, I can just come in and hit the partial close. And then again, what I'll do is I'll probably move my SL to just above this first take partial area. So now you're getting a look at how I'm doing not just the risk management, but I'm also managing the trade to be in my favor. But we do need this to push down to trigger this next level off. We close a bit more of a partial. We move the entity of the SL, which is just above the break even at the minute. We move it a bit further down into the other segment, okay? So I'll be back in a short while, guys. We've got it all set up and all the ducks aligned ready. All right, so here's me thinking, guys, okay? When we come down to, if we do come down to, I should say, down to this level, we'll take the partial, okay? The SL I'll keep above the break even, okay? The only way I'll move the SL to this area is if I go down and tag this area. So I'm still gonna be a nice distance away, but I'm more than happy to keep the risk on the table because I am risk free at the minute. So if I enter this, I'll take a partial off. And in fact, what we'll do is we'll take the partials down to 24. We'll take the partials down to 2,400 a position now, if we do come into these areas. Just so it's leaving a bit more on the table for us. I just want to see a bit more of a push down. And again, even if I come a little bit closer, I mean, at the minute, around about 3 pips, 3 or 4 pips away from having that area. In fact, it's going to be more now because price is pushing back up to the buy side. Uh, if I was coming to a pip or so, I may have taken the partial off. I'll wait and see what's going to happen. This might actually go back up and take us out at entry, to be fair. We'll just keep an eye. And again, price-wise, what have we got coming down? I've got another fair value gap here that I could want to mitigate into. Yeah. There's no fair value here. There's liquidity up on this lower high. Okay. We're making lower lows at the moment. So again, we are leaving liquidity behind as a paper trail. And like I say, we are roughly 3 pips. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take a position off again in a moment. We're coming a bit further down. There we go. There we go. We'll take a partial off there. So we're eating a bit more of the profits. What I'm going to do, I'm going to leave the position here at the moment. I'm not going to move the SL to here. The only way I'll have the SL to here is if we come down and we start taking out this area. So I'm just going to take that one off, which was the alert. We came into around about a pip, 0.7. So we were around about a pip from tagging that area for me to be interested in taking a partial. So at the minute, I'm happy with eating into the overall field of play, if that makes sense. I can now rest and wait until, in fact, what we'll do is we'll make this a little bit higher than that. We'll have this just above that. We'll have that just above there because what we've got here is the London low. So the London low, I'm going to take a partial there if we come down as low as that. Just take a look. So overall, we've been taking bits of partials. We've still got the overall target. There's still a $740.59 of profit in play if we do reach down to that. But we are taking partials off as we go down. So again, just to reiterate, guys, the bias is working in our favour, but we've hit TP1 and TP2. TP2, I've took a little bit less off the table. We've got the SL to just below the break. Even if it comes back, we'll get an extra $3, which is neither nothing or something. But it just keeps us risk free. If we come down and mitigate into this area, not only will I take what was it, 20? I'll take 20 off this time. Not only will I take 20 off, 2000, okay, but I'll also move the SL to this segment, which was the first TP area. So I'm like two steps behind on the take partials of myself. So I'll pause the video. We'll come back in a while. If we come back and we get taken out, there's no worries with that. What I will do though is I'll put this on here. Okay. It's off here a minute, guys. So just put this here, put this down here, and I'll just put this onto there. This on there, this onto there. And there's method in the madness with this. The 1 to 2. The 1 to 2 position would be around about that level there. So like I say, on the next, oh, I've done the bloody thing again. Leave that there. Don't want to touch that no more. So again, the reason why I've got this bit here, this is going to give me what the overall 1 to 2 was. Okay. We most certainly came into a take partial 1 to 1 area, which was this initial one here. I did take a bit off a little bit earlier as well. But at the minute, we are going to be sort of going for the true day open. We could technically go for the Asian low, to be fair, but I think that's too audacious, to be fair. At the minute, I'm happy with this. What I can see is the order block, fair value, price, efficiency at the moment. When we look at this as we come down, there's no fair value gaps. So if price was going to come back up and mitigate, again, you've got the liquidity residing on the, you've got the high, the lower low. Okay, the computer's just froze, the lower low, lower high. So you've got liquidity just above here. Okay. And then you've got a lower low. So if this is to come and break that, it's certainly going to come and tap into this, which means that's the danger of getting stopped out at the risk-free area. This is the reason why I didn't move my SL to this area here just yet. I want to see if this comes up and doesn't quite tap into that, or if it does tap into this and then comes down, it just means I kept that bit of breathing space between the partial where I would have moved the SL to where it is on the entry at the minute. I hope this is all making sense anyway. It's just a matter of risk management and trade management. Again, we're allowing the space of technically this here and this here is our breathing space. This, what you're seeing right now, between that point and that point, we're allowing the retracement to come back, okay? And that retracement being 50%, because generally when you take liquidity, okay, you've got to create it. So when you take the liquidity and you get the retracement to create it, you're going to come back to in or around 50% of an inertia move or a momentum push, which is in this instance the high to the low. The 50% will be that. So it wouldn't make sense to have the SL above there just yet. Do you see where I'm getting at now? So we are expecting, because we've took liquidity from here, we've took the liquidity from here and we pushed it there, we do expect a pushback. When you take the liquidity and you get the retracement and the pushback, we do expect around about 50% or up to the 618, which is the 62% line, which would probably be, look where we are, around about the bottom of the fair value gap. So we are understanding that. So we've sort of kept it in our favor by leaving the SL up here. Hopefully when we get that retracement, we'll get the reaction point from the 50, and then price will want to do its continuation to the downside. Okay, that is my overall thinking and my process. I hope that's sort of making sense. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to pause the video and we'll come back in a short while with a conclusion on what's happening. Okay, be back in a bit. Right, okay, boys and girls. What has happened is we have been wicked out. We come back up to the entry part. Okay, overall, the bias and the direction is still on. Okay, what we're seeing now is, if I just go and make this a little bit smaller, we've got the 1 to 2 here. Okay, we're going to continue to see if the 2% does get hit. However, I've managed to take out the take partial area where it went to a 1 to 1 area. Price could come down to the true day open, but it also has a possibility to come into the Asian low, which would make it a 1 to 3.94, you know. But the true day open was where I was aiming for. It is what it is. Have I done the right thing? I believe I've done the trade management to the best of my ability and get a little bit more out of it. We started this morning, the 10th of December of 2024, Tuesday morning. We started it where the account was 400 and odd down. We are a little over 200 down from making that loss the other day. Like I say, I'll always show you the loss as well as taking the wins. And so far today, the partials that we've done has been fantastic. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to end the stream here. Okay, and we'll catch up tomorrow. And I'll leave all this marked up and we'll do a catch up on where price has gone to. What did it do? Where did it go? And did it go to that 2%? And more importantly, did it come down to the true date one, which would be a 1 to 3.34? Overall, I'm happy with what I've done. I've done all the correct bias. The mechanics was there. The setup was there. We managed the trade to a T, to be honest, to where it was working for us, you know. So this is part and parcel of, yes, you're going to get the mechanics, the system, the strategy, the method. All of that nuts and bolts is there. But once you are in on a trade, what are you going to do to manage the price and manage the journey of getting profits out of it? And I went into it a little bit in depth there, what I was doing, what I was seeing, what I was predicting throughout its path. And it has been a good session. Okay. Remember, give it the likes, the thumbs up, all that goodness, share the love. If you have any questions, just reach out to me at any time. I'll catch up with you tomorrow morning on the London session, and I'll do a recording of the London session tomorrow, okay? And we'll see what's happened with the price on this one during the London session, okay? But for today, thumbs up, two thumbs up, the AM and the AM of London, the AM of New York. There was a 2% this morning on the London that we missed the entry, but we still got in on another entry, which we got some profits back of the overall drawdown we were in. Okay, so that's been today's sessions. Go and visit this website as well if you want to go and see more stuff. If you're not already in the Discord, show your love, show your support, and I shall see you all on the next one. Catch you later, guys.